Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Mariana and I am a Brazilian knitter based in the Netherlands. If you are a recurrent viewer, know that I truly appreciate you. So today's video will be a regular knitting podcast episode. So I have two finished objects to talk to you and show you, as well as some work in progress and some plans I have together with some acquisitions as well. So I am drinking some Argentinian matcha we brought from our trip to Patagonia. Even though I don't have the right cup you usually drink it with, this is a very handy straw in a way that has a filter at the bottom. So you just pour the dried leaves directly on the water. So yeah, that's what I will be drinking. Get yourself cozy, something nice to eat or drink, and let's dive in. So my very first finished object I want to show you is actually what I am wearing today. This is my chunky lavender haze crew neck by Knits by Pia. And this was knit in Sandnes yarn Fritids. Yeah, in the color 2641, but I think this is a 100% Norwegian wool, and I think this color is a undyed one. So long story short, in my latest video I showed you this sweater and I told you that I had knit pretty much the second sleeve, more than half of the second sleeve, without realizing that I had some misaligning at the cables in the shoulder. And you know, some people, they are fine with those like tiny mistakes, which is totally okay, but you know, I couldn't live with that. So I decided to frog the whole sleeve, and I was actually considering if I should frog it all or trust the process and knit the second sleeve and finish the sweater. The reason for that was that I was not really happy with the way this sweater was sitting on me. I usually like a little bit more of a positive ease, and since this is such a bulky, chunky yarn, I just missed this positive ease on this particular piece. And now in retrospective, I think I should have test knit one size up. So this is size 5, and I think I have approximately 20 centimeters of positive ease, but I would have liked a little bit more, maybe 10 to 15 centimeters more, which one size up would have given me that. Anyways, so as I said, I decided to trust the process, so that's why we have a finished object today. And I'm quite glad I did, because even though I did a project blocking on this sweater, I will put some B-rolls somewhere here so that you will see how it was fitting me. But I think that the magic of the blocking process, maybe it also requires you to actually like finish the whole piece, so that, you know, the sleeves will actually carry some weight to the garment and things will fall into the right place better. And even though I did block this a little bit aggressively horizontally, so I stretched the cables a little bit so that I would have a little bit more of a positive ease, but I'm just wearing this non-stop now, so I'm very glad I trust the process. And this was my first time working with this yarn. As you can see, it's quite a bulky yarn, but it is surprisingly very well, how can I put this into words? You know, it is warm when it needs to warm you up, but it's also quite, I wouldn't say like refreshing in a way that I can totally see myself carrying this during like summer in the Netherlands, for example, on top of dresses or skirts, just to warm myself up a little bit. I think the fact that the cables are, you know, you do have some gaping here and there, but you know, it during when it's too cold, it doesn't, you don't really feel that there is like wind passing through, but at the same time you know, it's quite cooling in a way. So that's the magic of natural fibers, I would say. So I'm very, very happy with this. I also love this color in particular because, well, I do have a cool toned complexity, so warm beiges are a no-go for me. It just washes me out completely, and this I would classify this as a cool toned beigey, grayish beige color. So I love this so much, and I'm very happy that I trusted the process and knit this up. So just a little bit about the pattern before we dive into the stats. So the pattern, it's quite clear. It was my first time working German short rows with cables at the same time, and it wasn't very difficult. I know some people are a bit afraid of German short rows, but to be honest, you know, once you've done it once, you can certainly you know, do it more. There is a ton of YouTube tutorials on that, and yeah, just trust the process, I would say. And Pia, she carries you all the way by hand, and the pattern was very clear. If you were not into such a bulky yarn, she also has a lighter version of this sweater, and I think you can knit using Sanna's yarn per hint. So yeah, you have a variety there, and if I'm not mistaken, in the same pattern you get the instructions for a vest as well, and I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but I think you also have the instructions to knit a v-neck instead if you want. So I'm not sure, but anyways, I love this. And one thing that I also found interesting is that in the pattern she gives you instructions to knit the same garment but with 3 different gauges. So she has yeah, the one that it's on like throughout the pattern, but in case you are a tight or a slightly looser knitter, you can also accommodate, so you don't have to do the math yourself, but it's all in the pattern. So I thought that this was quite handy. So yeah, just a little bit on the stats on this. Even though this was a test knit, I did buy the yarn myself. So I bought 15 balls of the Frittits yarn, and I think it costed me 84 euros in total, but I do have 4 balls, maybe 4.5 balls left over, so I will just do the math and calculate how much it costed me, as well as yeah, no, I won't be calculating, like, because this is knitted on 8mm needles, so I had to buy a 8mm needles as well because I didn't have that. But yeah, I think it was quite a relatively affordable project that yeah, I truly loved the finished object, and the process was also very enjoyable as well. So yeah, there you have it, my version of the chunky lavender haze crew neck by Knits by Pia. I'm actually loving to pair this with my second finished object, which is my Uma scarf by Petite Knit. So I will try to put a photo, but I'm loving to pair these two together and with like a leather jacket on top. It's just my go-to. I think these two colors, they pair it well, very, yeah, they are just like a very nice pair. Anyways, to my second finished object. If you were a knitter on Instagram or, triangular scarves are a thing at the moment. And I really wanted to knit myself one because, well, I love a red pop of color. And I had quite a lot of a timber hint left over from my novice sleep over that I knit, and I wanted to use that yarn. I didn't want to knit another Sophie scarf because, well, I already have two. So I thought, okay, let's do a triangle scarf instead. And I cast it on the scarf number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, because I do have that in my library. However, with this yarn, it wasn't really nice. I didn't like the look of it, and to be very honest, I also wanted something very mindless to work on while I commute to work, and so on and so forth. So I decided to go for the Uma scarf by Petite Knit. So I knew that this would be quite relatively easy project that I could just, knit mindless. But I cast it on just one single strand of timber hint, and no way I would knit this on 3mm needles, because I just wanted to use this like as, finish this as fast as I could. Anyway, so I had the idea to hold the yarn double. Let me just grab the yarn. So that's the timber hint. I don't have the label anymore, but it's quite a thin fingering yarn. So I had the idea to hold this double and knit this on 4mm needles instead. So I was totally off gauge, but usually I am a tie knitter, so I do need to size up on every Petite Knit pattern I knit. So this was already a given, so I was like, okay, let's do it, and then use up the leftovers I had in stash. So I knew that I wouldn't get the drape of the cashmere, which is what the pattern suggests. So I knew that already. So, but I was okay with it because I think my goal was to have a red scarf and use up some stash yarn. So yeah, basically I didn't, I followed the pattern pretty well, but I focused on the measurements instead of the number of rows you need to knit. So basically you cast on here, which is the part that will be like on your back, on your neck, and then you do increases throughout, and you have this nice middle line section as well, which I quite enjoy. And this was the perfect mindless knit I needed, yeah, I'm happy with the process. And I got the height as the pattern suggests for size medium. So in the pattern you also have 3 different sizes, so size small, medium and large. I knew I wanted a size medium, which is also the size that Petite Knit wears in the pattern photos. So I got the width for the pattern correctly, but this was slightly shorter than what the pattern suggests. But honestly, I was just a bit like, I want to finish this. I was okay with this size and I just cast it off. So you will see that again, the drape of course is not the same as cashmere. It does have some drapeness to it, but since I also held this yarn double, you know, it has quite a structure that you usually don't have with cashmere. So yeah, but putting that aside, I'm happy with this. You know, it's the a red of my dreams. I will put here also this color because I had quite a journey trying to find a cool toned red that wasn't like super loudly bright. And I think Sandna's yarn, well, this is just a coincidence that the two finished objects are from the same yarn brand, but so I think they have this color, they nailed it on this color. So I will write down the number here so that you can check it out in case you are looking for the perfect cool toned red. I think this is a true red. It appears a little bit brighter on camera, but believe me, this is a true red. Anyways, I'm happy with my finished object, and yeah, I've been wearing it quite a lot as well. The pattern was super easy to follow, as petite knit patterns are. I would say this is more beginner friendly than the Sophie scarf. And the total stats for this project, it's just the cost of the pattern, which I think it was around 5 to 6 euros, because I already had the yarn in stash. And you know what, like I wasn't really up to figure out how to do this myself. I could, because it's such a simple pattern, and I also saw that a lot of people didn't want to pay for the pattern, which I also understand. I did. I don't regret, because I already had the yarn stash. So yeah, you do you, but I'm very happy with my homemade scarf. And yeah, there you have it, my two finished objects. Well, moving on to my works in progress and continue on my obsession with red. I have the first pair of my socks finished, and well, if you are hearing this, this is my cat. She is just a little bit obsessed over all my project bags that are here on the floor. So this is my Easy Socks by Crank Sew Wool. So just a little bit of a background. So I finished the red scarf and I was like, okay, I want something red to pair with some loafers, and I am obsessed with this aesthetic. I will put some inspirations here as well. Anyway, so then I went to my local yarn shop, and they do have quite a lot of sock yarns, but it's usually hand dyed, and I had a vision in my mind that I also wanted something like true red. And then she gave me this pattern and recommended the Pasquale Sayama. Oops. I don't have any skeins left, but this is the label. So this is a 50% virgin wool and 50% baby llama, and this is the softest. I know this is not exactly a sock yarn, but you know, this is for myself, so I will make sure I will take care of my socks properly. And I also enjoyed the pattern just fell over here. It's quite easy to follow. You have two options, so you have the option to knit a 2x2 ribbing, which is what I've done. But you also have the instructions to knit another sock pair, and then you have the option as well to knit either a gusset heel or a short row heel. So this is with a gusset heel, yeah, the yarn, it's just super nice. I debated if I should just have used this yarn for my Homa scarf, but I didn't have enough, and these were the two last skeins in the store. Anyway, so I already started the second sock. I am knitting it on short needles because I just find it the easiest. I do magic loop as well, but I don't know, to me the time that it takes me to like move from one side to another, yeah, it just gives me the idea that this is faster and I don't necessarily have cramps or anything. So I just started the second pair, and yeah, this is my to-go project whenever I want to knit something, small. This is the yarn. I would say that this is a sport DK yarn. This is super soft, a very luxurious sock pair, if you will, but I'm quite happy with my pair. So the only thing is that, well, I haven't really nailed the size of the socks, and I think this turned out slightly bigger than what I would have liked. So I wear a size 39 on shoes, but I think this is more like a size 40. So I might knit this one exactly on like the size I actually want to have, because this I followed the pattern, so I yeah, necessarily was a bit longer, and I may just frog the toes and just to have then on the same size as I actually wanted. So I don't mind doing it if the finished object will be better, in my opinion. So yeah, I also like that I can, yeah, I still need to weave in the ends, but that I can also wear it this way. Also, modification I've done, you can actually see that the socks are quite longer, but I didn't want a super long socks, so I just yeah, so I just followed the pattern, but I kept the height I wanted. So yeah, so this is my first work in progress. I hope to finish this quite soon because I do want to wear it with my loafers. But I will talk about the stats of this project once I actually finish it. So yeah, I don't know when I will actually be able to finish it, even though it's on my priority, because I do have a test knit, ongoing test knit to show you. And I am extremely excited about it, and I think you will as well. Look at this. You probably can recognize this pattern. This is the Vilma cardigan. So the cardigan version of the Vilma top by Gregoria Fibers. And look at this beauty. Let me show you the back as well. So yeah, this is my priority whip right now, and I'm so happy with how this is turning out. So this is knit in, let me grab the yarn to show you, BC Garn Semidia Pura. and this is the color number 1, undyed color. And to be fair, I thought that this is quite yellowish in real life compared to the pictures. If you compare these two, I think you can understand what I'm saying. And I debated whether I should pair this with one of the recommended yarns for the pattern, which is Kid Cotton by Crank Sew Wool, which is this one. It doesn't want to focus. Okay. And I mean, okay. Or if I should use the Crank Sew Wool Silk Kit. So whether I should pair it with white or pair it with beige yarn. I really liked the feeling of this yarn. So the difference with like a regular mohair is that with the mohair you get the like the silk thread, but with this one it's actually cotton. So let me just pull a little bit so that you can maybe see the difference. I didn't notice, like visually speaking, you can't notice it. Well, let me see if I can show you. So you cannot really see the difference, but this is quite fluffy, and I liked overall how the cotton actually adds to the structure of the garment. It's hard to say, it's hard to explain, but it's so nice to knit up. So, okay, my cat. Anyways, this is so nice to knit up. And I also made a swatch that so you can see that I used 2 different colors. So I think the upper part is with the white mohair, and then the bottom part is with the kid cotton. So I wanted something more neutral, something that would actually resembles this color a little bit, because, well, even though I said that I would be able to wear this over like cool summer days, you know, a cardigan would also be very handy, and I wanted it to be on a neutral color. So I decided to use the, oh sorry, things keep falling off. I decided to use this together, and I'm actually quite happy with the results, because I do think that the beige toned down the yellowish quite a bit. So I am super happy with how this is turning. So basically the way this works, so I actually wanted to knit the Vilma top this summer, and when I saw the call for the test knit for the cardigan, I was like, you know, I need to have this in my wardrobe. And then, but I think I will eventually knit the Vilma top as well, but not on a woolly yarn, but more on a like cotton or linen, so just to have some variation. But you start with a provisional cast on, and then you work some short rows to shape the back a little bit, and then you establish the pattern. So this is actually quite a dainty pattern. You have the flower, the, how is it called, the pontel motifs, and you have this section as well with some central double decreases. So yeah, I'm happy with how this is turning out. I'm knitting a size 5. This is actually intended to have a less positive ease. I think around 12, 10 to 12. Yeah, I will write somewhere because now I don't remember, but this is intended to have less positive E, so I'm following that. So yeah, also following the Vilma top, you do have these nice details at the hem, and this time also at the sleeves and at the sleeves hems as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy with how this is turning out, and I cannot wait to wear this on top of dresses, but also, you know, I can see myself wearing this all year round. So super easy pattern to follow. You know, actually the flower motif is actually just 5 rows in total. So, and you always pour on the back. So you know, this is basically 3 rows. So it's super easy to follow and also to memorize. So I truly encourage you to knit a Vilma top, or once the pattern will be available, the Vilma cardigan as well. And yeah, once I have finished this and wear it a little bit more, I will tell you more about this yarn combo, because I'm also curious to see how the kid cotton will behave once this is fully blocked. I just kind of steamed blocked this a little bit to show you, but we know that the beauty happens when you fully block, at least I believe so. So I will keep you in the loop on how I find this yarn in the long run. And also the Semilla Pura, it was also my first time using this yarn. And so far, it's a very nice experience to knit up with this yarn combo. It's not scratchy or itchy at all. So yeah, it's been a pure joy, and yeah, probably this will be a finished object on my next episode, because I have a deadline, which I like to have every now and then. So yeah, you will see, this is my priority whip now, and then once this is done, I will probably finish the second pair of socks. So I can totally see myself wearing this with some loafers and my red socks. So, you know, that's the vibe I'm going for summer and spring. So you will see. But there you have it, my Vilma cardigan by Gregoria Fibers. Moving on to my second work in progress. This is my Lakes cardigan by Ozeta. And this is how it's working up. So I joined the back and front parts, but I haven't done a lot of progress on it because, well, honestly, I had well, I do knit with Knit Pro interchangeable needles, and I had a, well, I still have a 80 centimeters cable, which for some reason, yeah, for this cardigan it felt too tight. So I was a little bit afraid that once I joined the parts together, it would actually give me a tighter stitch definition. So I ordered a 100 centimeters cable, and then it feels much better and also pleasant to knit, because it was just not a nice experience at all. So this is part of the Lake series by Ozeta, so you do have this nice set of shoulders, which also can be your gauge swatch. So you can see the difference. This one was my gauge swatch, was my swatch, so I blocked this. So you can see the difference with this one, which is unblocked. And I am knitting this on the recommended suggested yarn. So this is Noru Madara in the color Sake. paired with alpaca one by Isayar, and this is the color E3S. So it's also the combo that yeah, it's in the pattern photo. So I am knitting a size, which size I'm knitting? I think I'm knitting a size extra large. I'm not sure now, but I will put it on the screen, but I think I'm knitting a size extra large because I do want this to have a little bit more of a positive ease, and I am slightly tight on my gouge. I think I am one stitch. I have 1.5 maybe stitches more than the recommended gouge for this, so I thought that I would size up so that I would end up with a size between extra large and large. And so far this is quite a mindless knit, as you know, it's not a Humai scarf for sure. And I do understand when people kind of complain that you do have quite a lot of ends to weave in, because you do have quite a lot of short row shaping. So there are sections, like especially here at the front, like creating the V for the V-neck. So you do have like tiny bits of short rows here, like that you have to, you know, join the yarn again, and so you have more, as you can see. You know, like I am not a person that weaves in the ends on the go. I usually like to weave in all my ends after blocking, actually, because I just feel that the yarn sits nicely, so that I know how it will behave, so that I can weave in my ends in a better way. Because yeah, I don't know, it's just my personal preference, because sometimes you can weave in and then in a way after like blocking it may change yeah, the overall look. I just don't like it. So it is tedious, but you know, knitting is a labor of love anyway, so I will be weaving in all this after blocking in. But yeah, this is a bit on a pause because, you know, this is not a super on the go friendly whip, because you know, you kind of like cake this up and then you have quite a big bow of yarn, and yeah, it's not the most practical to carry around. But I'm just loving all the speckles of colors you have, and I'm actually quite happy with my colors, because you know, each skein is unique, but since they are all from the same dye lot, I'm actually happy that I do have a few of this kind of like burgundy speckles, more than, you know, the greens and the oranges, which are my, you know, not my most favored color. So yeah, I will be focusing on this once I finish the test knit as well, because I feel that a cardigan, it's yeah, such a easy and comfortable thing to have here during spring and summer. And with this color, you know, you can pair it with anything, and it's like quite unique. And yeah, this was my dream yarn to work with. I remember when I was not a beginner, well, still beginner knitter. I started knitting like 2019 pretty much, but I remember I was in Denmark, I don't remember, maybe 2022, and I saw this yarn, but I didn't have any space on my luggage because I was staying there for a couple of months to work. But you know, it's not the most affordable yarn, so I couldn't get it. But yeah, I decided to splurge and give myself this for my birthday last year, so this is happening at the moment, and I hope I will manage to finish before my birthday in July. So this is also, you know, on my priority list. And even though I do have more whips like than a full monogamous knitter may have, I usually focus on projects as I go because I do like to have the finished object. So yeah, test knit first, then the socks and this. I think, yeah, and we will talk more about my other plan. So yeah, there you have it. So my next work in progress is a hemstrom sweater, Men by Petit Knit. You probably saw this pattern somewhere. And I am of course knitting this for my husband. You cannot see much because, yeah, the needle circumference is a bit tight, but this is how it's working up. This is a raglan sweater, so you have one raglan stitch here, and then you just cast on already on the collar, and you increase while you also work some short rows on the back. And yeah, this is actually my first time working up a raglan, as curious as it may sound, but yeah, I am more of a drop shoulder gal, so yeah, I'm actually curious to see how this will fit, well, him, but I will also try it out. And I am knitting this, I would say, between sizes extra small and small. I am actually using his favorite store-bought sweater measurements as we go. You know, I haven't worked as much on this lately because, well, I was focused on my own whips, but I plan to have this ready for him to give for his birthday, which is on October, so I probably have some time. And I just love this color, and the yarn I am knitting this up with, it's Anel Malmedy, I think that's how it's called. I would say this is a sport weight, 100% superwash wool, and this is the color 25-27. So you know, this sweater is for him, and I know that he will not, I mean, he will care for it, and I will make sure he does. But I wanted to be safe and then knit something up on a superwash wool because, you know, man. Anyways, I'm knitting this on 4mm needles. That's why I also sized up on the size, because I didn't really like this fabric on a 4.5mm needle. So that's why we are doing these adjustments as we go. And yeah, it's actually fitting him well. We tried it so far, and but yeah, I just need to have more time to work on it. But I wanted to introduce this whip because every now and then you will you know, see some progress on it, hopefully on the upcoming months. So yeah, this is my secondary whip, so to say, sweater, raglan sweater for my husband, and I think this color suits me well, but also suits him pretty well. So yeah, I want him to have this, and yeah, I'm happy that I am making this for him. Just a little bit on this yarn, so it feels very nice. It doesn't really feel like very I would say plastic-ish superwash wool, We picked this up in Belgium when we were traveling to Ghent, and this is actually a Belgian brand I was not aware of, so that's why I'm showing it to you in case you are based in Europe and plans to travel to Belgium, so maybe you can come across this yarn brand. So they do have some mohairs, I think, if I remember correctly, but it has some acrylic to it, so yeah, just pay a little bit of attention on the yarn composition, but this feels very nicely. But again, I'm not too sensitive. He is more sensitive than me, and he did find this a little bit itchy on the neck, but since I'm still working the raglan, and then once we have the sleeves, things will fall into place a little bit better, I believe. But he will always wear this with something underneath, so I don't see this as a problem. But again, I think this was super affordable. I think if I remember correctly, 7 or 8 balls costed around 35 euros. So I think that's a very nice color, a very nice local yarn. And yeah, we picked up together during a trip, so it will always have some memories attached to it. And then yeah, it's nice. So hopefully we'll have some more progress on it soon. So now moving on to acquisitions. I usually get yarn when I have a specific project on mind. So I'm more of a garment driven yarn buyer rather than the other way around. But I do like to buy yarn, local yarn, when I am traveling. So that was the case. You probably heard me mentioning that we went on a trip to Patagonia last December, and I got this very chunky boy. So we were very limited on our luggage space actually, so I couldn't bring everything that I would have liked. But I was also surprised that I was expecting to see more of a yarn culture in Patagonia, which is such a well, we were on the Argentinian side, but you know, it's such a cold place that I was expecting to see more. And you do have quite a lot of farms there. That's what I heard after talking to this very nice lady where I got this came from. I will put the details on the shop here. This was a shop in Ushuaia, which is the farthest southest city on the planet. And again, you do have quite a lot of farms there, sheep farms, but sheep are not a local animal there. But they, well, I may be mistaken and I don't want to generalize, but the idea of like what she told me is that most of the sheep farms you have there, they actually export the wool. So that's why it is a little bit hard to find local wool. But this was local and it's not super sheepy smell, but I love this color. But again, I could only bring this hank with me. And my idea behind this was, you will probably guess what I would say, but I am planning to need some slippers for us. So during winter, probably. I would start in the fall. Not a plan for now, but I wanted to show you the wool. And I also have some chunky wool. This was also like hand-dyed wool I got in Oaxaca in Mexico when we traveled there 3 years ago, I think. So even though the thickness of the yarns are slightly different, I just love these colors together, so I have more of this. And I also have my very first sweater, chunky sweater I knit back in 2019 or so. And you know, I don't wear this because yeah, it's a very like vanilla sweater, and but my plan is to unravel this because this was knit in drops snow. So my idea is to use these colors together, which I think they match quite well. So, but I don't know yet if I will cave in on the sailor sleepers, but I think the yarn is here. So my initial idea, I don't want to commit to anything because this will probably change, but I think I will use this for the soles because it's such a dark color. And then I might do stripes with these two colors, but we will see. And I don't know if I would do like regular like sized stripes or if I would play a little bit. I will have to swatch to see, but yeah. And then that's my idea, to make like tweeny sleepers for us. Then I think the colors are very nice. And my initial idea is that on the hem of the, not on the hem, but like on the cuff, like at the very top of the slippers, to differentiate both, I might do like this color for him and some scraps I have from the fritteds from Sandnes, from this. So I will have to also see how all this bulky yarns will behave when felted. So I would probably need a swatch and try to felt it, because I also saw people commenting that if you mix yarns, the felting process is also a little bit different because the wool is spun differently, which totally makes sense in my opinion. So I think I will you know, knit something up and then see how it behaves and then commit to a pattern, or you know, have to maybe to do some math to figure out the exact size I need to knit. But this is my idea, and I love, oh, I'm trying to show it all together. I love this color combo. So, and honestly I think this will also feel quite special for us because, well, this is wool, local sourced wool from Patagonia. This is from Mexico, so hand dyed by a woman community I found. So, and then this was my very first sweater, so in a way this feels very grounding. So I have America here, and by America I mean Central America, I mean South America, where we came from. And my very first sweater, which grounded me into knitting. So I think this will be a very nice and emotional whip to have. And yeah, so I might try this and knit up for him for his birthday together with the sweater, and then knit one for myself. But I don't think I have enough. I probably have some leftovers of this as well, that I will have to see what I can use for. But yeah, I just wanted to mention this because this is quite a special wool, and it is surprisingly not itchy at all. It feels nicer and softer than the fritteds from Sandnes yarn. So yeah, that's acquisitions slash future plans thing. Another thing I wanted to show you I got in Patagonia. Again, I was very limited in terms of luggage space. So I got this 100% wool skein. That's the brand. Also, I got it from the same shop, and this is the variation I have. This is the thread, so you do have some texture as well. I have no idea what I will need with this. You know, because I literally just have one bowl. So if you have any recommendations for like such a variety yarn, let me know. But my idea was to also knit a shawl with it, or maybe like a longer scarf. Here I have, that was one of the things I pointed out to the lady at the shop. I have no idea how many meters I have on this ball. So yeah, which makes it a tad bit more difficult to figure out a project. But then again, like, it will have to be something that, you know, I can just wave in the amount of yarn I have, and then you know, just use up half of it. Yeah, maybe another Sophie scarf, maybe not, but a shawl I think would be nice. This also feels very nice on the skin, and I like the color variation, so we will see. But this is what I got in Patagonia. And we have just I have just one more acquisition to show you. This is the Laney weekly planner build for crafters. This is such a nice, you know, you have this elastic band, you can tie it here. So I am a huge planner fan. I do have a ring planner that I, you know, if you live in the US, or maybe you know the brand Cloth and Paper, I love the stuff they do. So I invest quite a lot of money on my planner, my ring planner. But we had a few personal setbacks at the beginning of this year, coming back from our big trip to South America, and I didn't feel like planning a lot, you know. That was kind of giving me anxiety. So I saw this on Vinted. It's like new, and it was for such like a good price. I think I paid €7 for this. And I like the, I think this is leather, or at least it feels like it. And you know, you have your regular planner, weekly planner setup, but I just think this is nice, so that I can plan my knits, and then I can, you know, count rows and do like some writing and notes as I go in, and have everything here on one piece, because sometimes I have like a small notebook for one project and then another one for another project, and I think it's just nice to have everything at hand whenever I need to work on something. And you do have you know, like a year at a glance here, which I'm still figuring out what I will count for, if I will actually track how many days I knit, or yeah, I haven't planned this yet. But you also have a few lined sheets, but also unlined ones. So I think I would do kind of like personal planner slash knitting diary, and I will also try to document everything that I knit here. And I do like to journal as well, and to like have some I wouldn't say scrap journal, but I do want to document my knits a little bit more, like the yarn I used. You know, I try to do this on Ravelry, but sometimes I miss having something physical for this purpose, and to catalog the yarn as well, like at least a little piece of sample. So yeah, I will see what I will do with this. If you like this kind of content, I can also yeah, share a bit more once I have figured it out. myself and how I use it. But yeah, I'm happy, it's beautiful. You know, I'm also happy to buy something out of vintage that someone was not using it, so I think it's also a nice way to repurpose and recycle things. And you know, yeah, I will use this for sure. So with this, we come to an end for this video. I hope that you enjoyed going over my finished objects and then my works in progress. And yeah, I will be catching up with you on my next podcast. Let me know in the comments, yeah, if you liked any of my whips or finished objects, if you have actually knitted any of them, if you knew these yarn brands, and if you perhaps have a recommendation of a pattern I can use to knit up that single skein of local Patagonia yarn I got. So yeah, and then also suggestions on how to use this planner, because I actually searched for it on YouTube and then I didn't find a lot of ideas there. Anyways, thank you so much for watching up to this point, and yeah, I truly look forward to see you on my next podcast. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because it helps me a lot. So I will see you on my next video. Happy knitting. Bye bye.